And we're back. Johnny Midas and Nick Brick here on Burn Live Podcast, wrapping up our review of the El Septimo Botticelli from the Sacred Art Collection of El Septimo. And in case you missed the last episode, go back and listen to it. But a little bit about this cigar. This is a 7.5 by 58 Salamon. All of the tobacco is undisclosed. This is going to set you back $25 to $30 most likely, depending on taxes in your area. It is 100% in 2-bar construction. All of the leaves have been aged 7 to 15 years. There are 3 to 5 filler leaves, meaning different type of tobacco, not the count of the leaves. 3 to 5 different types. And I would go with mid-body, mid-strength, a little on the fuller side of mid for the strength, I think. Presentation has a extremely oily, shiny, and very smooth wrapper with not a lot of veins or
waxy.
Anything. Waxy. It looks like leather.
Yep.
It doesn't look like tobacco.
But not worn leather.
Not worn leather.
This is you just got your shoes shined.
Yes. Yeah, absolutely. So we're about to rank it, but let's touch on the flavor. So for me, Nick, one note cigar, vegetal. I would describe it as if you took a leather belt and started cutting your way through a celery field with this leather belt, and you're just whacking at the celery, and then you get to the other end of the field, and you just lick that belt. That's the flavor.
Stick it in your mouth for a minute.
Yeah, suck on it for a minute.
Yeah.
I will say in the final third, it sort of added the celery leaf. So for those of you that are not like Michelin-starred chefs like I am, the celery leaf has a little bit of a spicy component that you don't find in the regular celery. But it's like a vegetal spice. Yeah.
Okay.
So that kind of came in the final third.
Yeah.
And that's kind of what I got. Like just that vegetal tobacco taste through and through. There was no flavor changes. A little hint of leather, like I mentioned in my description, but other than that, no spice, no sweet, no cedar, no oak. Really unique flavor profile. I think I can't think of another cigar that smokes this way.
Yeah. It's certainly one that will always come to mind for me now whenever I think of like cigars that were different.
Right.
Because this was most certainly different. I can describe the flavor in a lot of ways. I think you're absolutely right about that vegetal flavor. I think this is like if you walked out to a tobacco field and like got down on your hands and knees and bit the stem or the stalk of the tobacco plant.
Yeah.
Right. Like it would taste like that. Bitter. I feel like I've eaten my vegetables for the day, so I'm gonna go have an ice cream sandwich now.
Right. A couple of other notes. Pairs horribly with black coffee. It's just too much for me. Bitter on bitter.
Yeah.
Paired very, very well with my English breakfast tea with cream and sugar.
Yeah.
The cream and sugar, I think, complement the bitter flavor.
Probably wouldn't go well with a Guinness.
No.
But like maybe like a fruitier beer, IPA.
Maybe an aperitif, or like a sangria, maybe.
Oh, yeah.
Kind of has a summer feel to the cigar, though, for sure.
Yeah. I think
it's like a summer smoke.
I forgot to mention, I always have this thought after every show, but the 58 is going to refer to the biggest part of the cigar.
Right, on a Salamon.
I do apologize to everyone for not referencing that.
And I would say like the foot, what is that, a 50?
Yeah.
It goes from like 58 to 50.
Yeah.
So, and then I guess also the other thing I would mention is we're smoking these. Like I'm in the last inch, you're in the last, you still have a inch and a half. So we're talking right now an hour and a half after the end of the podcast.
Yeah, I'm clocking it at about 2 hours 40 minutes.
Yeah, 2 hours 40 minutes. So this is a 2.5 to 3 hour smoke.
Yeah,
a long smoke. Also, it's still cool. I'm having no trouble holding this last inch.
You're absolutely right.
I think it burned slow and cool, which is cool. No pun intended.
Cool, man.
I attribute the in 2-bar construction for that. it definitely feels like an N2 bar constructed cigar. The way that it smokes, smoke output was really good. The smoke matches the cigar because it's there and smooth, but it doesn't have any outstanding characteristics.
Yep.
It's not chewy.
Right.
It's not creamy. It's not toothy. It's just there.
Yeah.
But there's enough of it.
Yeah.
You know. All right. Any other comments before we rank this cigar?
I think that we underestimated this.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah.
I certainly didn't anticipate this being this long of a smoke. But a pretty good intro to the brand, I think. So yeah.
Yeah, it is a lot of tobacco. I mean, it's 7.5 by 58.
Yeah.
Salamon, it's gonna have to burn for a certain amount of time because I got fucking half a tobacco plant, rolled up right here.
Yeah.
All right, so and also I would add, like, I think the last inch and a half was definitely the most enjoyable part of the cigar.
Oh, you think so?
Yeah, I don't know why. Maybe my palate was conditioned over 2 hours of smoking it. I don't know. And maybe it's because I didn't pair it with the tea until after the show.
Yeah.
That might have helped, getting those tea oils on my palate and the cream and sugar might have just conditioned my palate to where, but the flavor hasn't changed, I'll say that. So just that little bit of extra vegetable spice kind of.
Yeah.
So why don't we start with presentation? Nick, what are your thoughts there?
I think it's cool. I think the bamboo forest green on the sub band in the box, the lime rind green, like is whether it was intentional or not, gave that it gives the visual taste of that vegetal bitterness. I think
it kind of does.
With
kinda
that,
goes with it.
all the green with it. The cigar, I mean, it was gorgeous. This looked like, you ever seen like wax statues of people?
Yeah.
This cigar looked like a wax statue of a cigar. Yeah. Like it could have been like an art.
Art installation.
Yeah.
Sure.
Like if I saw this in a museum, like on a single display, I'd be like, wow, yeah, that fits. So presentation, fuck, it's a 10. I fucking give it a 10.
10 on presentation.
Screw it.
Yeah. So what I liked, what I didn't like. So the box is nice. It's not overdone. The color matches the artwork. It's just got that El Septimo logo in gold, on the green background that matches the band. I think it presents nice without being over the top. It's not, super fancy. The cigar itself is a model cigar in terms
very
of
polished.
It's very polished. Like I said, that's not so cool anymore these days, right? Like the in thing now is like, this came out of the ground. We're farmers, and all of that rustic kind of is really in right now. Yeah. Especially in America, like the emergence and prevalence of like San Andres and broadleaf, Maduro wrappers. They really like that toothy and veiny and whatever. So this kind of harks back to old school cigar boom. Davidoff and like really polished cigars. I'll give it a 9 for presentation, and I'm giving it a 9 because you gave it a 10.
It's kind of like how they inspect diamonds where they put the monocle on and like they hold the diamond up to the. Yeah. It's like they took the wrap relief and like they did that with this.
Oh,
one.
for sure.
They're like, all right, let's magnify every single inch of this and inspect it until it's.
Yeah. I mean, I had the one hole in my wrapper, didn't affect anything. Yeah. It was near the foot, but other than that, that's the only like objective reason to not give it a 10. Yeah. But like this leaf was very carefully selected. Yeah. I mean, it was, and it's both our cigars. It wasn't one isn't a one off.
Right.
So.
Yeah.
All right, moving on to price. At I think I paid $28 for these. Not an affordable cigar, and there's a lot of cigars in this price point that people want to smoke.
Yeah.
Holy Grail cigars and stuff. So, what are your thoughts on price?
This is gonna be just a fantastic ranking session. I got to be honest with you. Price is a 6.
Yeah.
So the only redeeming factor, the only reason it's not a 2, I think, is because of the volume of tobacco that you get. Mm-hmm. Right, but it's like $14 worth of tobacco and not $27.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, no, I'm with you. I have it as a 5. So, the reason I've given it that ranking is, first of all, the flavor and enjoyment. It just doesn't stack up with other cigars in this price point. Full stop.
Yeah.
For other $30 cigars, I can get a much more complex, rich, full experience. To have 2.5 to 3 hours of one note, to me, you can't charge this kind of money for it.
Yeah.
So, yeah, little bit of a whiff on that one. How about construction?
So I had, and you watched this happen. I had that was close to probably 2 inches.
2 inches, yeah.
You took a photo, actually.
I did. I should Instagram that shit.
Yeah. So my ash stuck on for the first 2 inches of the cigar, except for there was a Florida-sized sliver,
right, a wrapper that didn't burn. Yeah.
So it's like, all right. On one hand, the construction was supreme.
Yeah.
But on the other hand, what's going on the other side?
Yeah. If you took your thumb and where the middle knuckle is on your thumb, and you took that last section of your thumb, that has the nail on it.
Yeah.
That's how big that flake was.
Yeah. It was. Yeah.
And it just burned right around. That.
Yeah. And I don't know what happened. I'm not going to speculate. So 7. And I say that as a question more than anything else.
So I think for me, you always get extra points for N2 bar construction.
Yeah.
In my experience, which is not like some people that have been in the industry forever, but it's not something to sneeze at either. I mean, I have been doing this hobby for 20 years. In that experience, N2 bar construction notably improves the experience of smoking the cigar. All right, it can't help blends and flavors,
right,
but it can help with burn and smoke output. So you usually get, and it's hard to do, right? You usually get extra points for that, which is true here. The actual burn line was pretty good. Now, it wasn't burning super evenly, and you saw that worse, than I did.
Yeah.
As well, look, my cigar was crooked. Nobody likes a bent shaft.
Yeah.
So I got to take points off for that. But other than that, it did burn evenly, slow, and cool.
And the draw from the nipple foot right off the bat was good.
It was, yeah.
There wasn't we weren't trying to force it to get to the open up or anything like that. It was good.
Yeah.
So.
Which that can be common in Bellicosos and Salamons, where it's the first 10 or 20 puffs, it's you're just trying to get it to burn.
You're trying to keep it lit.
Yeah,
right?
keep it lit. Yeah. So I've got a 7 for construction as well.
El Septimo
Botticelli, the Sacred Art Collection. All right, so let's move on to flavor.
Yeah, so again, off air, this is a conversation we had, and something that I reference a lot in the podcast, right? So, Blackened by Metallica or Drew Estate and James Hetfield. All signs point to them wanting to give it a charred, burnt, dark flavor,
all the way through,
right? And they did it.
And they did.
They did a great job.
Yeah.
Is that my favorite flavor? Not necessarily.
Right.
And so I think this cigar is one of those instances where, like I told you earlier, if the blender said, yeah, we wanted it to taste like this and we wanted it to stay that way the whole cigar, then by all means they did a great job. But if the company's marketing this as 3 cigars in one, right, with 3 different flavor profiles throughout the cigar, then it was horrible.
Right.
So I guess my rating reflects neither of these points, but just how I liked it. And it was a 7. It wasn't horrible.
Yeah.
But I think if I spoke to the blender and he said yes, that's what we wanted to do, it's a 9 out of 10.
Yeah.
Right. They did excellent in that sense.
Yeah. Yeah. I think you're a little generous there, to be honest with you. Here's my take on flavor. So I'm not going to speculate on what they were trying to do. What I can say is smoking one note for 2.5 to 3 hours is not a good idea. And then here's what I compare it to. Another one-note cigar you just brought up was the M81.
Yeah.
If I had to smoke this or that and get that single note, I would choose the M81.
Sure.
Right, which it didn't score very badly on our
No.
on our ranking. You know, for what it was, I think it scored really well. But if I can compare it to another one-note cigar and say I'd rather have that flavor, well, then the flavor is just not for me.
Yeah.
And I would add to that, like, for folks that like Connecticut's that traditionally have the kind of that bitter flavor, you'll probably like it. But most of the cigar people I talk to, this is not the flavor note that they want to experience for 3 hours, right? If you said, like, cedar and cinnamon sugar and leather, you know, well, I'll smoke that for 3 hours every day.
Yeah.
You know, so to kind of pick this flavor profile, I feel like it was kind of a whiff. And yeah, it is definitely influenced by the market position, the price, the branding.
Yeah.
You know, if this was a $10 cigar, it would get a better, I think it would get a better flavor ranking.
I can't wait to hear this number.
Right. I've given it a 5.
Okay. All right.
I've got a 5, right in the middle. Because it wasn't a bad flavor.
Right.
But man, for this price point and position, I expect a lot more.
Size.
You know? Yeah, absolutely. All right. And that brings us to experience. So, like we say, this is the most subjective, but also the most important. Because we all know, like, there's cigars that we'll smoke and the experience is just awesome. And it might not be an awesome cigar in other respects, but it's a great experience.
Yeah.
Papas Fritas.
Yeah.
Great experience.
Yeah.
You know, now if that cigar lasted twice as long, probably would go down in ranking, right?
We're talking about you, Liga number 9.
Yeah, yeah, right. Halfway through, you're like, okay, that's enough, you know? And I'm done. Can't believe I just wasted $9, you know, which is half the cigar.
Right.
So, what was your experience, Nick?
Bizarre, shrouded in mystery,
wrapped in an enigma, you know?
Yeah, I mean, it's like, had we tried to find info like on this company pre-2019, right? It's like, well, the company existed, but no one knows anything.
The Middle Eastern Mafia bought this company, and you know,
it's like no details on the blend.
Right, yeah.
the website had it listed at 7.5 by 58, but the description had it listed at 7 by 58.
Like two sentences later. Yeah. It was 7.5 though.
Yeah. So just, I mean, it was like fun in that aspect. Like, if you're not getting frustrated by this, which is very easy to do,
right?
And you just like have fun with it, like it's, you know, it was a 6. Like it was just funny.
Yeah.
And I'm not laughing at the company or the cigar, but the entire experience to me, like I'm laughing at the end of all of this.
Yeah.
That's all.
Yeah. To me, it was kind of like buying a luxury car and they don't tell you what's under the hood. And you can't find out.
You can't open the hood.
It's welded shut. You know, like, okay, well, I guess it's just experiential.
Right.
Like, I'll drive it. How does it drive? You know, is this a hybrid? You know,
and it drives okay.
Yeah, I mean, that's a really good number, I think. So my experience, first of all, it takes a lot of time, commitment, and discipline. That's a little bit of points off for me, right? Which is, I think I draw the limit at an hour and a half to 2 hours for a cigar. Because I can't think of any scenario where I can smoke that long. You know, this might be unique to me, but just think about, as a listener, think about your life. When do you have 3 hours to sit down with a $30 cigar? Right? And then on top of it, by the time you get to the end, it's like, God, I've been tasting this fucking, you know, leather-wrapped celery stick for 3 hours. And it does get tiresome. It gets a little boring, to be honest with you.
It's like eating buttered pasta every night for dinner.
Yeah. The first night, it's like, ooh, buttered noodles. And the second night, it's like, oh, yeah, buttered noodles. And the third night, it's like, fuck, you know. How about some ramen?
That's how the Irish felt.
Yeah.
A potato stew again.
Would you like a potato? Yeah. So, and then on top of that, you know, I get it. I'm a cigar nerd. There's people that just want to have a luxury experience. I don't think it was that luxurious of an experience, so I got to take points off of that. But there wasn't even the opportunity to dig in, like what regions are these tobaccos from? You know, anything other than it's aged from 7 to 15 years. Well, fuck, that's twice as long. That's a big range, you know. Imagine if you picked up a whiskey and it's like, well, it's a blend of whiskeys aged 7 to 15 years. Well, that's a big fucking difference between 7 and 15, you know. Mm-hmm. As well as like N2 construction. Great, thanks for letting me know. I would like to know a lot more about the provenance and all of that.
Yeah.
So I had given it a 5 for experience. So, and of course we round up.
Yes.
So that comes out to a 6. So the total ranking for this El Septimo Botticelli from the Sacred Art Collection from El Septimo is 35. So not the best ranking cigar that we've smoked.
This is 100% a case of it looks better than it tastes.
Oh, definitely.
Right.
Yeah. Like the presentation. This is
9 and a 10.
This is the only cigar to get a 10 on presentation.
Yeah.
You know, but I fucking smoke the cigar. You know, like I insta it a little bit.
Right.
You know, but at the end of the day, like it has to show up and play on the palate.
Yeah.
You know, and this one just didn't.
It's a photo shoot cigar.
It's a photo shoot cigar.
Right.
Yeah. Like if you wanted to be seen smoking a cigar and end up on the cover of Cigar Aficionado, this is the stick for you, man.
Yep.
Just make sure you match your outfit, because that green does not play well with a lot of colors. You know, your master's green jacket would clash terribly. You know, like it's a totally different shade of green. But that was a really interesting smoke. I'm glad we smoked it.
100%.
I think this probably goes in the bucket of you should listen to us smoke it, but don't necessarily go out and try it. Now, if you really like that vegetal bitter taste, man, this is the cigar for you. If you wake up every morning thinking I want to lick a beetroot, you know, then go out and buy the cigar.
Or if you want to call us idiots and tell us that that's not the experience you had.
Oh, do that.
Yeah.
Which you can do. burnlinepodcast@gmail.com. Send us an email.
Yep.
Don't forget to pick on us a little bit. Let us know how we're wrong. And follow us on the socials. So Burnline Podcast. We're on Threads. We're on Twitter, X, whatever the fuck it's called these days, Instagram. And let's get those followers up. Hit the like and subscribe, all of that. Make us powerful and wealthy, and we would really appreciate it.
Yeah, we'll give you free cigars maybe.
Yeah, don't count on it.
Maybe.
But yeah, so anyway, we really appreciate you guys joining us. And this little addendum, I mean, fuck, that was 2 hours and 45 minutes, and we're not known for, like, savoring our cigars.
Yeah, we ended the show, and I reached around the mic, and I said, John, we can't rank this right now.
Yeah,
we're
in the first third, just transitioning to the second third.
We have to wait. So here we are. It's 3 hours later.
Yeah. So long smoke. If you're looking to get away from the wife and or the husband and need an excuse, smoke this cigar.
Yeah.
I'll come home as soon as it's finished.
Yeah. Yeah. One cigar, I promise.
The next morning. Yeah. Thank you guys for joining us on Burnline Podcast. As always, we will see you again next week.